Here it is, right in there, in between the lobes. See
Oh,
it?
yeah.
Kind of brownish there. But the liver is also more intact and harder. You can see not nearly the kind of fat that we saw in the other one. Here's the greater omentum, yes, once again. Still connected to the stomach that we see. Okay. And again, the lesser omentum is on the other side that connects the stomach to the liver. So you can see I'll lift this up and get underneath there. You can see the lesser omentum here, and that's again the serous connective tissue. So this also shows not nearly the amount of fat, but here you can see the parietal peritoneum. And so what's here is then visceral peritoneum that covers these. Okay, so there's parietal, which you couldn't really see on that one, visceral here. Greater omentum, again, the spleen, which is on that lower portion. Looks pretty much the same as the other one, although it looks bigger here than it did on the other one. If we then look at, let's focus now on the stomach for a second. Here's the body of the stomach that I'm squeezing together. And as I go farther down, we come to the antrum, and then we come to the pyloric sphincter. You can see like a little indentation right there. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically the pyloric sphincter. And again, if you palpate that, you'll feel that it's quite distinct. And so as you go into the first part of the small intestine, and by definition, it's going to be the duodenum. So pyloric sphincter, the duodenum. And now let's look at this guy and see. I didn't pay attention to his pancreas last time, but just kind of thread some of that out. We can again see it's rather thin here too, but there it is. You can see it looks glandular material. It's trapped in between the mesenteries. It then comes posteriorly here, and then the tail of it is right here. And this one's totally enclosed, whereas the other one wasn't. So this is all of it. When you look at it, it's the tissue itself, as you're looking at it, let me clean that out a bit, kind of looks like cottage cheese, kind of glandular material. Okay, you see that right here. Okay. So again, there's this then is going to be the duodenum. Here's that first major curve, which is typically where the end of the pancreas is, and then you follow this around just like we did on the other one, and eventually you'll come to, here it is again. Here's the colon. Notice the difference in diameter. Now that's because partly they're contracted, so this could be bigger, but they're not nearly as big. The colon is in my right hand. The ileum is then in my left hand. You notice here's the cecum, which is just the end of it. Looks like a thumbnail there. And then notice that the ileum comes in above that. Okay, so it comes in. So it comes in like this. The cecum's right at the end. Okay, so the ileocecal valve is right at this point of the ileum that comes in. Okay, and so when you're looking at that, for this particular one, this is a good one also. You can feel. It feels hard all the way through here, and that's because this is right where the valve is. Okay. So then beyond that, you lift this up and go downwards, and just like we saw with the other one, we've got basically the colon, basically a descending colon. That's about pretty much all cats have, because they don't have anything pretty much to get rid of. Any vegetation that they take in is accidental. Unless they have an upset stomach, and sometimes they eat grass. But it's not because you're trying to become cows. Okay. Did I forget anything on this? I think the urinary bladder also shows up on this one. It's contracted, and basically we'll look. This is a male, so we'll deal with the seminiferous tubules and the